Hello. Hello, hello. Bonsoir, bonsoir. Everything is brand new now. Don't you worry about a thing. Cast your burdens at his feet. Now you've got a reason to rejoice. So stand up and start singing. We're gonna party, party, party every day. Jesus died. The joy of the Lord is our strength. We're gonna party, party, party. Hello, hi everyone. Jesus died. The joy of the Lord is our strength. Nothing's gonna put me down. Welcome, welcome to Behind the Smile 2nd anniversary. Good evening, everyone. We'll start soon. Welcome to the party. I'm just sharing the live, just bear with me. Yes, the song is on Spotify. Elo Adassa, Party Jesus Style. Please go and find it on your Spotify, YouTube. It's available for you all. Jesus Style. All right, let me just share as we are going to start soon. All right, I've shared with a few people. If you share the live with a few more people, and then we'll get started. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Royden. Good evening, Abena. Good evening, Audrey. Good evening, Hervé. Good evening, Kwabena. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Behind the Smile 2nd anniversary. So we are rejoicing. Indeed, we are rejoicing. All right, so the song playing in the background is Party Jesus Style by Elo Adassa. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on all music platforms. So go and download it, share it, do what you've got to do, and enjoy the Party Jesus Style. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Jennifer. Good evening, all. Let me just put the music down and so you can hear me loud and clear. So good evening, everyone. As you can see, I'm in a party mood. It's been, it's been a great 2 years. What can I say? So welcome. So I wanted to celebrate Behind the Smile 2nd anniversary with you all out there because, the book is out there and many of you I've never met. Many of you have been buying the book, supporting me on social media, and it has been great 2 years. So I wanted to do this anniversary. Usually people will do a 1st year, 5-year anniversary. But because I didn't get to do it last year, I thought, why not do a 2nd anniversary? So thank you very much, Nine Rezo. Thank you so much. So we are celebrating my book, 2nd year anniversary. So yes, I kind of still feels weird to say this, but I'm a book author. I'm very humble to even carry that title because I've only written one book. But hey, that's the title that goes with someone who writes the book. So I am a book author. Thank you so much, Kwabena. So just to share, I mean, many of you know the story because I post a lot on social media. So I'm not going to go too much into the story of the book, but I have guests who will come and share their reviews, and I have a few questions for my guests this evening. Then at the end of everything, we will do the giveaway prize draw. So I have here all the names of those who took part in the draw. So you can see my little box here, got names in there. So at the end of the live, I will do a prize draw. And hopefully, obviously, if you were wanting the book or, maybe a t-shirt or one of the other items, you will obviously, maybe get what you wanted. So thank you so much again for joining me this evening. Behind the Smile was published in February 2020. So just before lockdown, that's when the book was published. And since then, it has amazed me how, people have been supporting me. Strangers have been supporting me. Many platforms have been open to, welcome me and hear my story, not just my story, because I believe that is the story of many people out there. So I am humbled to have been able to, share my journey with, privately or even on this platform. Behind the Smile, I've looked at a few data, which, I tend to not just go into it, but I've looked at a few data on Amazon, as the book is available on Amazon. And I have actually sold over 100 books. So I am very, very grateful for those who have been buying, for those who have been recommending, because it's not just my word out there, but it's also all of you who are recommending the book to, your neighbors, your friends, your brothers, your sisters. And it's not just females who have been reading it. There's also men who have been reading the book. So some of my guests this evening are men, some of them are women, some of them are actually related to me. And again, I don't want to go too much into the story of the book, but I've never thought in my life that I would be writing a book. And even if I had thought of writing a book, I don't think it would have been about my own story. It would have been about something quite, fictional out there. Because growing up, I had quite a lot of imagination. So I'm sure I could have written a book about something fantastic, as in a fantasy, fantastic. But I chose to write about my journey, my testimony and the things that have been, I've gone through. And it has been a blessing not only to those out there, but it has also been a blessing to me. And I repeat it again and again. That has been, writing a book has been a part, has played a big part in my healing journey. So, it's out there. I feel like, I say that a lot as well, I feel quite naked, for the book to be out there and, people knowing my story is kind of a wow, kind of, ooh. But I know that many have found strength in reading the words that I've been able to share. Many have seen themselves or seen someone else's story through those pages. So, it's not a big book. I've written it, again, you've seen a review I've posted recently. I've written it in a way that is pretty easy to understand and digest. Some may have said that reading the book felt as though I was sitting right next to them telling the story. So, without, too much talking, because I'll be talking again at the end, I'm going to welcome my first guest. Let me just bring him up. He's on time. We like this. All right. Great. Let's welcome my first guest. Let's see if that's even going to work. I'm not sure. Yes, perfect.
Hey, Paulette.
Hey.
How are you?
Thumbs up. I'm well.
Original version, original copy, original.
Yes, you have the first edition of the book. I forgot to mention that the book was actually in 2 editions plus 1 translation in French. So welcome. Can I say your full name? I mean, posted your full name. Welcome, Christopher Herbert from Fit. I always say the other way, but Fit for Life Youth. Which is you know, doing great stuff out there with young people. Again, you know, I celebrate you for what you do. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to come here and, you know, share your take on the book. So
Yeah.
without taking too much of
Always
your
got time
time.
for you, Paulette. Always got time for you. You know that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I think, you know, your beautiful fiance is here, or she may be around somewhere. I saw her name in the
Yeah,
comments. So
I saw it too.
good evening, Belinda. So, sorry, I'm being very goofy, but all right. So, Chris, I know you were very, very supportive and, you know, in the you know, when I shared that I've had a book, you jumped on it and you said, yeah, let me buy it and see what it's about. So, my first question to you is, what did you like about this book?
Boy, the book, the main thing I liked about it was because I had to do a refresher before this because I wanted to kind of re-experience it. But it's your honesty, man. It's your brutal honesty. It's what's the word? At times it's a bit uncomfortable. At times, you know, and for me to read it through your words and your eyes, and if it's making me feel uncomfortable and you lived it, it's like even now I get a bit of goosebumps when I'm talking about it. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like it's so I commend the honesty because you know that's by choice that you decided. So that's the thing I liked about it. It takes a lot of bravery to be that authentic, especially in this kind of society world we live in now. It's a bit counterfeit. People don't want to give you the whole picture. You know, they want to give you you look at Instagram and stuff like that. It's the highlight reel. You know. So the thing that I liked about it was definitely just the honesty, and it's just like, I think it's just I commend you for being so brave, and I think I don't know, maybe you could explain more, but I feel like when you're talking about your life and what's happened, it's kind of cathartic, and it's like you're showing that look, this is my life, and I've overcome my life, and I look at my life now, I'm thriving. Like, is that kind of is that how you feel?
I feel like, you know, when I look at obviously having written the book and I had to reread through the pages, it really felt, I see what you're saying, because it really felt as if I'm reading over someone else's life, when obviously I knew it was my life, but it felt like, wow, I've actually been through all this. Knowingly, unknowingly, it was a bit like, wow, for me. So I can understand how someone may feel uncomfortable because it's very raw, let's say.
But that's
Yeah.
what I mean. That's what I mean. I mean, that is what I like about it because it lets you to feel that. Do you know what I mean? Where it's not kind of bubble gum, watered down. It's raw, authentic. You know, there's the word now it's kind of turned into a bit of a buzzword, but it's still I think it's true in this word where it's like very empowering, especially as a woman. I feel like that word is kind of thrown around a bit loosely, but this book definitely is something that someone will read this, and you even writing this, and it's empowering, and yeah, I commend you for it, man, because
Thank you.
to be honest, honestly, I take my hat off to you.
Thank you very much. What didn't you like about the book?
You know what's funny? I can't say I didn't like. There was nothing that I didn't like. It's like two sides of the same coin because the honesty was at times quite hard to kind of. I was like, whoa, trigger warning sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? At some stages, not all through, but so it was kind of like. But again, I was very much in the book. You know, when you watch a film and it's gripping, and even though you're like, oh my gosh, you're still watching and you're still so there, like, do you know what I mean? So I can't say I didn't like it. It was maybe uncomfortable at times. I want to say, I mean, I can't say I didn't like it. It's not that I didn't like it. It just was a bit, yeah, it was just a bit uncomfortable at times. And without being, I don't know, I guess if you can relate to certain, we relate to things. And when you read someone else's testimony or someone else's story, you think about your story, isn't it? Like, I'm talking about myself. So,
yeah.
And that at times is kind of like, you push some of these things to the back of your mind, and then things get pushed back to the front. But I couldn't say it's not something I did. I can't say I didn't like it. Again, it gives you that feeling of wow, this is a real. This is real. This is real, and it's something that you can kind of feel and taste even. So yeah, no, it was I can't say I didn't like it because at times it was a bit uncomfortable.
No, I understand. So what was one passage that stood out to you? Because we know each other as before you bought the book. I know now we have kind of a different relationship than we had when you bought the book. So you didn't kind of, we were work colleagues, I would say. So we didn't know each other outside of work. Now we know each other outside of work. When you read the book and you kind of saw me, is there any passage that stood out to you and you were like, wow?
I actually wrote it down. Yeah, there is. I think it was more like about what you said about purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's quite early on in the book, but it's kind of like, I feel like that is something that kind of brought you through because you kind of know your purpose. Like, what do you say? Once you know and understand your purpose, you understand the reason for your peculiar characteristics and your specific interest. Who you are is not a mistake. Nothing about you is a mistake. So, that was, I agree with it. I agree with that. And that's something that I feel like when we understand that, or if you can understand that, it's something that will kind of give you confidence in yourself and confidence in your journey and know that, yeah, I have a purpose and you have to find that purpose, and that purpose will give you passion, and, you'll live in that purpose, So, and that will kind of give you the wherewithal to push through whatever you're trying to do and not get sidetracked and be like, I have a purpose. I'm here for a reason, So yeah, that definitely stood out to me, that passage there.
No,
Could you
fair
explain,
enough.
what made you, because I'm quite interested to kind of find out, like, from your
That's,
side, like, what did, what were you trying to get across there? What made you think of writing that passage?
I think, I can't even remember where that specific sentence places in the book, but what I wanted to get at when I wrote that bit is that so many things had happened to me and I couldn't quite understand, that there's a lot of things that I didn't understand as a child. Less, even in my teenage years, I didn't understand a lot of things, and in reflecting back, I saw that, every trait of my character, everything that I was and liked actually served a purpose, not only at the time, but also more when I understood that it served a purpose. Obviously, when you don't understand, it doesn't quite make sense. Why do I like these things? Why, I tell a story in the book where, as a young Black girl, I was passionate with like Egyptians, mythology and all that Greek mythology. I was really, really into it. And for me, I found it very like, that was weird because none of my friends and none of my family members ever mentioned liking these sort of things. So I've understood that my desire for more knowledge and understanding of others' cultures it's actually now brought me into a place as an adult where I'm always seeking to understand others. I'm always seeking to understand other cultures. But at the time, I saw this as a kind of a hindrance to me being a normal little girl, if you see what I mean. So I've understood the purpose of now having that kind of character trait of always seeking and digging. And now as an adult, seeking and digging is actually, kind of bringing me to who I am today. And I love kind of digging into topics and things that at times don't make sense to others. I love this thing. So yeah. Do you have any question before we go to the next? It goes very quick, Do you have any other questions about the book to ask me?
Yeah, no, there was something I wanted to ask you. I think you may have touched on it again in a bit later on, but you mentioned again, and I guess it kind of feeds into what we were just talking about with the whole purpose side of things. And I guess you kind of talked about it, but the uniqueness. And I know you said before when you were younger, people used to say you're unique, and you kind of didn't necessarily take it as a compliment. I mean, I know you did touch on it in the book, but I still just wanted to ask you that: is that still the case, or when did that stop from being? When did you stop questioning whether that was a compliment or not, and maybe start taking that as a compliment? Did something happen, or?
I think, I've come to terms with the fact that we're all unique, but also the fact that, like you said, I felt comfortable when people would tell me, "Oh, you're unique." It felt a bit like you're weird. You're kind of bizarre. There's no one like kind of will relate to you. That's the way I saw it. I don't really. I've come to terms with it. I don't know when, because it probably isn't too long ago, because I still, I still struggle with my own insecurities and things like that. So sometimes that uniqueness, I can embrace it, and sometimes that uniqueness make me feel as though I am not understood in the uniqueness that I have and the thing that I like and the way I go towards certain things. And so I don't know if I've come to terms with it in a way that I have learned to embrace it and like it, but then I still would struggle with it from time to time. I have to be honest. Sometimes I do struggle with, the fact that
that's what we love about
yeah.
you, the honesty. That's what makes you. That's another thing that makes you unique. The honesty. So can I ask one more question?
Of course. My next guest is somewhere. Sorry, Jennifer, if you can send me a request while we do the last question. Go on. Sorry.
Well, it's kind of one question into two. One, would you write another book? And two, would you think about doing a fantasy, not like a fictional book, if you were to write another book?
Okay. To be honest, it's not in my plans, because this book, I feel like this book was very emotional. It was very heavy. I felt like this book took a lot out of me. So I was like, I don't understand how people can write books and books and books and books. But again, I've received quite a lot of words telling me that there's another book coming. And funny enough, at the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, I could be writing about this. It's something specific. I'm not going to share it here, but because obviously if it does happen, then you'll see the book out there. But it's like, okay, you'll still be kind of my journey, but just a specific part of my journey, which needs to be dug into. The book is very, it's quite thin. It could have been big. It could have been massive. I had to filter a lot of things. A fictional book, I don't know, I could. I've got an imagination that, just sometimes you're like, where did you get that from? So I'm sure I could do that, but I wouldn't. If it was a fictional book, I would have to have someone sit with me, like a professional sit with me and go through the kind of having a ghostwriter. That's it. Yeah, I wouldn't do it myself. Yeah, I wouldn't do it by myself. Yeah.
Cool, man. Look, that's my time, man. But yeah,
thank
you, man. Thank you for having me, and thanks for writing the book, and thanks for being so honest.
Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Chris, and all the best. Please go on Fitful Life Youth page. There is a GoFundMe. Chris has just got the keys to a new building. There is a GoFundMe link. Please donate. No matter how much you can donate.
Yeah, there's no donation too small. We're like £700 away from our target, so every penny counts.
Exactly, and we're here to support each other. So please go on his page. Follow, donate, and if you follow later, that's fine. But please do invest in what is worth investing in. So thank you very much. I don't know how to get you out, but thank you.
Yeah, all right. Take care. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chris. We're welcoming my next guest, who should be coming up soon. Thank you so much, guys, for those who have joined, who didn't join us from the beginning. Today we're celebrating my book's second year anniversary. The book is called Behind the Smile. You see it at the back here. And because I didn't want to talk too much this evening, I've got guests coming to the book. So good evening, Jennifer. We welcome Jennifer here. Some of you may have seen Jennifer already on a couple of my lives. Jennifer is my little sister, and I have my other little sister coming up later on. Jennifer is my little sister, and I just want you to tell us, obviously. Jennifer is a French speaker, so she will do her best in English, but she should be okay. Guys, if you have any questions as well, just drop them in the chat and I'll be happy to answer as we go along. So, Jennifer, as obviously a reader, first and foremost, not as my sister, first and foremost, and a reader, because you got to read the book, you got to translate the book. Jennifer participated in the translation of the book, which was amazingly done and in a short period of time. So I thank you for doing that, in your own time. So what surprised you the most about the book?
I think I would say everything.
Oh.
because as your younger sister, I wasn't aware about what you were going through. I was also surprised by that j'étais
In French.
j'étais surprise par le fait que on partageait les mêmes sentiments, que
Okay.
certaines choses que j'ai pu
So she,
ressentir,
all right. So she said she was very surprised that we actually shared the same feelings.
ouais.
Yeah.
Et ça m'a fait
Okay. So
proche de toi. Et
okay. So,
vas-y.
English. So it drew her closer to me. She was able to relate to me.
Mm.
Okay. All right. Thank you. If you could ask me anything, what would you ask me?
If you had the opportunity to tell something to your younger self about the future, what will you tell her?
Ooh, that's a deep question. If I had an opportunity to speak to my younger self, I feel like the things that I needed to hear when I was younger was that I am loved.
Mm.
I think it was important for me to know that I'm loved, that I matter. So this is what I would tell my younger self, that you are loved and you matter, and you have your place in this world. So, without being too emotional about this, but I feel like these are the things that I would have loved to hear spoken over me when I was younger, that I'm loved and I matter. Yeah. Any other question?
No.
Okay. What did you learn? Obviously, what did you learn from? I know you said it a little bit in the beginning, but what did you learn about me as a person?
I learned that you have a lot of strength, force.
Yes.
I learned that life is full of up and down, but in the end, you can see the light of the tunnel. And I realized that physical, emotional, or moral injuries doesn't define you. And j'ai envie de pleurer.
Don't. Sorry, she said she's wants. No, don't cry because you're gonna make me cry. Please, don't.
Oh là là, je peux le dire en français, je peux parler en anglais.
Yeah, go on, go on. I'll translate. Sorry, she'll speak French and I'll translate.
Que prétendre, oh là là, que prétendre que tout va bien quand tout va mal, en fait, ça arrange pas les choses. Ça aide pas.
To pretend that she said to pretend that everything is fine when everything is going wrong is actually unhelpful.
Et quelle que soit la situation, oh mon Dieu, quelle que soit la situation que tu traverses, que tu as pu traverser, en fait, tu n'as jamais été seule, en fait. Mais tu t'en rendais pas compte.
And no matter what the situation I was going through, as in talking about me, that I was never alone, even though I couldn't see it, but I was never alone. Yeah.
Voilà.
That's fine. So why do you feel? Sorry, if I can ask an extra question, why do you feel emotional talking about it?
I feel always emotional when it's about your book.
Oh.
I read it so many times. I think in English I read it 2 times because it took me too long. And I have to do the translation. I had to reread again and read again the translation in French. So, je sais pas comment dire. En fait, voilà, c'est de savoir en fait que tu es passé par tout ça. Voilà. En fait, je suis plus petite que toi, mais de pas avoir pu être là pour toi et
It's okay.
à traverser ça.
It's okay. So she said that, oh, don't please. She said that because she's younger than me, she would have loved to be there for me and to know that I've been through all of that. She would have loved to be there for me, but because she's younger than me, obviously, she couldn't. So that's something that, breaks her heart. It's okay. Don't, please, I've done my, please. Thank you so much. Thank you. So while we have the last words, my next guest, if you can request, please, Kwabena, if you send a request to join. But I thank you for, taking the time again to do the translation, because I know that was at such a time in your life that you yourself were going through something quite tough. But you volunteered to do the translation, and you did it so beautifully. I didn't even have to read through it. I just went ahead and published it when you were fine with it. So thank you so much. We've got this big gap between me and you, which is many, many years. So I know if it was now, I know you would have been there for me. So don't ever feel like, this is something you could have done. You couldn't have. I don't think you would have been able to prevent it. And I just love you. So don't even, don't even think anything. Okay. All right. I'll let you sign out, and I'll grab my next guest.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. As you can see, it's a bit emotional. I'm even trying to not share the tears. But yes, we're here. Hey.
Hello, hello.
Hello. I'm good. So good evening. This is my next guest. We call him Kwabs. His name is Kwabena.
Hello, everyone.
Hey. So thank you so much. Kwabena, again, like anyone who will come on this platform here, has been ever so supportive of the book, my journey. We've built actually a whole friendship out of not just the book, because we had our own friendship, but I think having read my story and discussed it, it kind of strengthened the bonds. I remember Kwabena just reading the book and messaging me and like, I'm so angry. I was like, oh, hold on. Hold your horses. But yeah, so it was very, it was very interesting to have those conversations with you, because you always wanted to know more than what was in the book, and kind of gauging my feelings. And I really, really like that, that you obviously read and obviously tried to gauge my feelings. So, all right. So, after all that, don't make me cry, please.
Okay.
So my first question to you, Kwabs, is did the quality of the writing match the story?
So I felt like, and I think you mentioned somebody else, like other people have said it, but it felt like you were directly speaking to me, as if I was sitting next to you, speaking, just like how we converse. It was I think it was conveyed in a very relational way, but it's still simple. It's not overcomplicated. It's not like you're trying to unpack or speak in a way like you're trying to be super profound. Like you're literally telling it as it is. You might explain your feelings in that moment, how it felt, or maybe a lesson afterwards, but it wasn't really like you were trying to speak as, I don't know, it just felt very simple and clear. And I think that's what's needed for those kinds of situations, because if it's not clear, then other people might not be able to gauge the reality of what you're actually saying. I think it's just tell it as it is. Share it as it is, and that's how I found the writing to be. And I think that's what the story needed. By the end of it, I got it.
Yeah, you were actually the first person to make that comment about the writing. So, and I was like, ooh. And then when more comments started coming about the style of the writing, I was like, ooh, that's, I've actually mentioned that. And yeah, so it was interesting that to hear that and to have the same feedbacks and see that obviously that this is the style that people liked. In all honesty, when I started writing, I didn't know that there was, not that there were styles of writing, but I didn't go and research a specific style of writing. I was just like, I'm telling my story, like that's all. There's no need to use big words. There's no, because I don't use big words, so there was no need for me to use big words or do more than, like, that wouldn't have been me. So I really wanted it to be me.
Another thought I just had actually is also the way in which you didn't give names. That's another thing. But it's like when you think, I mean, there are so many people covered in the book, but still it managed to understand what was going on. So I think that's another thing that I quite liked about it. Is that you didn't want to bait people out, but you wanted to tell the reality. So that's why I thought, I mean, it was really well done. I think that's
to be honest, I said whoever recognizes themselves, they recognize themselves. There's nothing you can do. Like, it was, I knew I couldn't put names because of obviously legal, the law. Because when you put someone's name in a book, you then have to ask them for permission, and if they say no, and I didn't want to make up names. I just thought it's long to start making up names, and now I have to go back to the beginning and remember who David was, and I didn't want it to be I didn't want it to have to go back and forth and be like, okay, oh true, I've called David Michael on that one, and then it shouldn't be Michael. So I just thought, for the sake of everybody, let me just not put names. But my second question to you is, are there any gaps in the book that you would like me to fill, a piece of information where you were not sure and you would like me to make sense of?
I don't think there really were any gaps. I don't think there are any gaps I can think of at the moment. But maybe it would be nice for you to explain, like, where you are in terms of how your relations are with your family now. Because there were some challenges at points where, it felt like maybe one person you'd expect to be supportive in a certain situation, they might not have been supportive. And so you could tell that there was some fragmentation in relations with your family. So just if you could give an overview of how those have developed, how things have been repaired. Are things better? Are things amazing right now? Are things bad? Where are things in terms of your family unit? If you don't mind sharing.
No, I don't mind at all. I mean, my life is out there, so might as well. So yes, I realized that towards the end of the book, I don't talk so much about my family and how we were able to get over the many trials and challenges that we went through. So my relationship with my dad is obviously evolved. Now we are close. Like, is even obviously he's my dad, so I wouldn't say he's my friend, but he's my dad, and now I'm able to see that this is my dad and love him as my dad. With my siblings, we are still creating a bond, which obviously, having not grown in the same environment and places, is something that you kind of have to work at it. But I'm a bit more intentional in the things that I do with my siblings, because I feel like I love them. I want them to know that I love them. I want them to know that I'm here, not just as a big sister, but as a friend. We've worked through a lot of challenges. The relationship are much better, with my stepmom, siblings. The relationships are definitely much better. We're able to talk. We're able to kind of, at times we share our struggles, and we're able to, sometimes we've had times where we create a prayer group and we pray together for a while, and then we just stop, but there's still this kind of intentionality in building the relationships, which I appreciate, after the many things that we've been through. Yeah.
Okay.
My last question, because I know my next guest is already here. Did reading this book have an impact on your mood?
Yes.
Please
That's a
tell
fast
us.
yes. That's a very fast yes. Ooh, man. So I'll tell you this. It's a very intense book, very intense, and I've seen films where they are like, you know, showing the depth of people's private life experiences and the traumatic experiences that they have. It's like, ooh, oh man, I wish I was there. Just to be like somebody to back them up, you know, like, or just like, no, how,
Oh, oh, in- so your internet is bugging.
ooh. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, great. So, so I just lost my train of thought. Okay. Sorry, I can't remember the last thing I said.
So the last thing I heard was,
Yeah.
you know, when you watch movies and you wish you were there to back them up.
Okay, so yeah, in those situations, I think. Okay, so okay, now I'm remembering. So I wish I was there to back you up. I wish there were other people who could have been there to also back you up, and also it also really made me think about how you must have felt in those times, because it was as if like your confidence was really deteriorating. Like after things that you'd explained had happened in your childhood, for example. Like if you just start there, if somebody had been there to cover you, protect you at that point, you know, things wouldn't have happened. And then of course those kinds of traumas then built through your teens, and then as you got older, and certain mindsets that you had at the time, and you didn't seem to really have a lot of good encouragement of how to adjust your mind or how to overcome those traumatic experiences. It then, you know, snowballs. Imagine like a snowball rolling down a hill, and it just get a hill of snow, I'd say. And it's just building up into this bigger ball that could cause chaos. So that's where you
Chaos.
could see there was a lot of chaos, and there were also people who were preying on your feelings and your that lack of confidence. There were people who were manipulating that, and it was quite frustrating, because it was almost like, yes. Firstly, if people here haven't read the book, read the book, please, because you'll get what I'm talking about. But it's like, yeah, it's just some people were just moving mad. In terms of, so like I'll highlight. So in relationships, for example, some of the people you were with, the way that they were behaving, it would make me think, this seems so casual. It's like it's just casual violation. And there were points where some of your close family members would be there to support at some point. It was like finally a hero to come in at some point.
So you were there throwing the book in the air. Yeah, like, wow.
Yeah, it's like finally. But you know, a big thing is that, you know, things seem to reoccur. And one point that you highlighted, I can't remember the way you phrased it, but it was kind of like, you know, you would go back to those situations, and you know, it's eventually knowing you and how far you've come. I think that's one thing where it's like, I see, okay, something should be done for you as well personally, in terms of making a decision to leave, and it's something that you were not shy about, in terms of, you know, at some point it was difficult to leave. And then it showed that you can empathize with people in their situation today who are just like, you know, they know something's off, they know something's a red flag, but they just feel like there's some sort of security in the midst of the chaos.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So
I think
so you know.
yeah. It was like I was rooting for you in the middle of the story. And it's like, I know what you're like on the other side, but it's like it was a journey that you took, an emotional journey that you took. So that's what I can praise about it and highlight about my mood. Definitely, it was very triggering. It was very triggering.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Sorry, I'm just inviting my next guest. I don't even know what I'm doing. Sorry. So thank you so much, Kwabs. Alvinne is already ready. So I'll let you sign out. Thank you so much, Kwabena, for your continued support. I really, really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
See you soon.
Take care.
All right. Thank you. Bye. All right, guys. This is very, very intense and very, very, very. It's heavy in emotions. So, again, for those who have just joined us, we are celebrating together the 2nd year anniversary of my book called Behind the Smile. And again, because I didn't want to talk too much this evening, I have invited friends, people who have become friends along the journey to just discuss their take on the book. So my next guest, like the one before Kwabs, is my sister.
Hi.
Alvinne is my sister. Good evening. I haven't seen you in a long time.
I know it's been a while.
All right. So my first question to you is, did you find the book easy to read? Or was it heavy?
Personally, I think it was a bit heavy, only because I didn't know everything, obviously, that went on in your past. So it was just a bit of a, whoa, she went through this, you would never know kind of thing. So yeah, it was a bit of a heartbreak to know that my sister's gone through some certain things.
Oh. And what's after reading this book, what would you say my biggest strength is, and what is my biggest weakness as well?
I'll say your biggest strength, one, is either writing the book and actually putting things down for the whole world to read and get that experience. And I think you're strong for just getting out of the situation that you did, and with everything that was going on, yes, the devil tried to make you feel low and everything, but at the end of it, you got out of everything, which was, I think it takes a very strong person to go through what you've gone through and get out through the other side and not feel bitter or any resentment or any anger, yeah, I think that's your biggest strength. Weakness, I'm not sure. Maybe I would say maybe being not too nice, but I don't know if it makes sense, but I feel like with my attitude, some of the things it would have been yeah, you're taking a mick kind of thing. But you was there, you stayed, you still tried to do what you could do it within the situation. So I feel yes, at the end you were strong, but you could have
Sound too nice.
Yeah.
2022, I'm showing you poker face. I'm not. But yeah, thank you. What did you think was the most important takeaway from the story?
I think for me it would be, it's not hard to say, but having the thought of suicide and not acting on it, because I know that thought can be really strong or really loud, and with everything that's going on, it would have been so much easier to just be you know what, forget this, I don't want to do this anymore. But you fought all the way through, and didn't let that pull you down to that basically. And I think that's my biggest takeaway, because even after that, I feel like we could even have a conversation on really depression and stuff like that. And it's just, yeah, that's my definitely biggest takeaway from that.
So just, yeah, thank you. Any questions you had after you finished the book? You can ask me, of course. Anyone in the comments, if you have any questions for me, please feel free to drop them in the chat.
Any questions? Why, like, I don't know if this is like a reason, but why did you stay with that aunt for that, like, after everything she was doing? I know you was young and obviously getting another place and stuff like that is hard, but
Why did I stay with who?
do you know the lady that you're saying that kept like saying stuff to you and
Oh, my aunt.
yeah, your
Okay.
aunt.
Why did I stay with her? At the time, obviously, I was quite young, because when my mum passed away, I was 13, so I went to live with her. That was April. Then in May, I turned 14. So I was still quite young. I was still kind of mourning. I was still going through quite kind of a lot of emotions. So for me, I never really saw, I never really saw that I could go somewhere else. Not only just that, but I had my little sister living there. So Jennifer was living there. So I didn't think that me going and leaving her was ever a solution. But it actually never crossed my mind to just go up and go. But it's when it became too much, that's when I thought, you know what, I have to go back to the care system, because it's too much. But again, she ended up kicking me out, which was, I would say all things work together for your good. But as a young child, I don't think I ever thought that, I can go somewhere else, because I grew up in foster care. So when I finally had kind of a family, even no matter how toxic that family was, for me, I was still in the family. Do you see what I mean? Like I still wanted to be part of the family, even though it felt like, I wasn't loved or I wasn't appreciated or anything that I thought the family would provide for me. I still felt like, at least I am with family and I'm not with strangers. So that's why I think it never crossed my mind to run away from my aunt's house, because I never actually ran away. I just stayed there and took whatever was happening there as, kind of, you live a life with kind of toxicity. You live a life where you're not loved. So wherever you go, if you're not loved, for you, it's just normal. If you see what I mean, like it's just normal. They don't love me. They don't care about me. I'm there. It's normal. Like, but at least, the thing you say in your mind is, at least this is family, because when it's strangers, it's a different story as well. So sadly, obviously, I stayed there as well, and it added on to the brokenness that I had initially, before even leaving there. So, yeah. Any other questions? Any questions?
I think that's the biggest one I had, because knowing me, I would have just been like, family, no family, I'm out. Like, you're giving me stress. But yeah.
But it's the thing is, you're seeing it with the strength that you have now. But when you're a broken child, it's different. As a big woman now, I would say the same thing as you. Like, I don't need this. Let me just go. But as a broken child being brought into that, it's kind of, I have nowhere to go. And just being with family for me was like, yeah, no matter how toxic these people may be, at least I'm with family, which it shouldn't be that way. So, yeah, thank you so much. Obviously, I know that for my family, it's been quite emotional to read my book, to read my story. A lot of the things I've been through was, behind closed doors and was quiet. And I've managed to hide it behind a smile, as the title of the book. So I understand that for my sisters, it was kind of discovering a new person. kind of, whoa, I didn't know. We've been, with my sister Alvinne, we were constantly going out. And, there was times, where I've been beaten and I'm going out and we're joking, we're
You seem
dancing.
so strong.
No one knew. Yeah, no one knew. So it was, it was a kind of a blast for my sisters. I think Dad hasn't read it yet because I still need to bring him the French version. But I know he will have quite a lot of questions as well. So my next guest is here. So I'm going to let you sign out, Alvinne. Thank you so much for your support.
That's all right.
Always, love you.
Love you
All right,
too.
take care. I'm bringing in my
Bye.
next guest. Oops. All right. Nadine, class YM, if you can make a request if you're still here, unless I've missed you somewhere. I think you're not here anymore. All right. So I don't know when Nadine is gone. She will come back, hopefully. But yeah, it's been a journey, quite heavy for some, and I'm aware that even before having the book launch and publishing the book, I had to go and see my dad and stepmom just to let them know, okay, I've written a book. This is what's in the book. Don't be shocked. And I can understand how kind of devastating it must have been for them to kind of find out a bit of my story at the book launch, because I didn't grow up with my dad, so it was for him it was quite a shock to know that I've actually lived in foster care and the rest of it. So if you have any questions, add them into the chat and I'll be reading them. I'm waiting for my next guest to join in. I'm just going to send her a request. I know she was here earlier. But yes, so it's the book is available in English and in French. So the French version, obviously, you'll find it on. Actually, if you do Amazon.co.uk, the French version is going to be there. People have been buying it, and I'm so grateful that it has been recommended. It has been helping so many people out there, as you have heard, and people have shared. So here is Nadine. Hello. Hello. So just to give you a bit of the story, Nadine and I, we actually, I would say we don't know each other, but saying that feels a bit weird because we met on social media. We've never actually seen each other face to face, but she has been a good support, and she's bought the book, she's read the book, and she's recommended the book. And, I've seen through this journey that, strangers have become friends, and strangers have actually had my back and really promoted this book. Like, yes, go and buy. So I really appreciate it. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Because it looks like my Wi-Fi is playing up a bit. Oh, okay.
Well, I can see
Thank
you
you.
and I can hear you. You look lovely.
I'm coming
You
online,
look
so I
lovely.
have to try.
You look lovely.
Yes.
You have to do it. All right. So I keep repeating this, but for those who are joining us in between, today we are celebrating, my book's second year anniversary. The book is called Behind the Smile. Again, I think the title speaks for itself, but there's a story, a journey, a testimony, that is obviously 100% true. My first guest, Chris, said that this is written with such an honesty that, he just couldn't put it down. And that is something that many have said as well.
Definitely. I mean,
would
for
you
me,
agree, Nadine?
it's a little bit too special. I mean, I know I haven't said much to you, but the reason why I support the book so much, first of all, is because of the fact that, do you know what? I still can't see you. It's very funny. I feel like I'm talking to myself. Do you want me to go out and come back again? Maybe
no, it's all right. Don't worry. We can
see. Yes, I'll do that. Yeah.
Yes, go out and come back again, and I'll answer Daniel's question. That's fine. You can come out. Sorry, my next guest, we are running a bit late. So there's Nadine and there's another, my final guest. Good evening, Liv. Good evening, everyone who has joined, and thank you so much for the support. Dalia, yes. If I would write another book, I have personally, I have no desire to write another book, but it has been kind of said, I would say, I would use the word maybe prophecy if a bit loosely in here, but that I will be writing another book. So I am eager to see where God takes me, because I never thought I would write one book. So let alone write 2 books. So I'm just waiting and see to see.
I can see you now. All good.
Perfect.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you were saying about the book that is something personal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, for me, the book is very personal because I have a story on my own. And I think every single chapter of your book, I can relate to. Like, I don't even know where to begin. And so, in a way, emotionally attached, but yet in another way, I'm really happy the fact that you wrote the book, because as a young woman going back in my years, I could definitely reflect to the situation. And I think what you've done is so great, because it allows the words to see what a young life, especially a young woman's life, and especially now that I'm a mom myself and I have a teenager, and I just can't imagine, do you understand, allowing a situation, I would just put it that way, allowing a situation of such to happen willingly. So to read that story, I mean, for me, is very, very touching, because I myself been through a situation, and I started living by myself when I was very young. So I can kind of understand, and in some level I can see myself in there. So that's why I really love the book, and I thought it's a great thing to just share so people can know what's going on, because sometimes I think people underestimate like what a past can make a person to become, And last time I was on live chat with someone, and I heard the person saying, who you are now, whatever happens to you in the past and who you are now, it doesn't matter, because now matters more than what happened in the past. However you want to direct your life, it depends on you completely. So if you mess up, then it's on to you. So I was trying to get him to understand. I said, look, that's not the situation, because you have to heal. You have to be healed from whatever happened. And you have to come to terms with it. Yes, you can accept, but you have to come to terms with it. And you have to kind of want to also move on. Then it will be okay. So for me, with those elements, is really, really personal to me. That's why I really love the book. And I see you're a very strong person. It's like there is nothing that you've been through, is easy, I'd say. And to see you like this now, and even, as a Christian woman, is a good thing. I'm really, really happy that, I got to meet you. So it's a very good thing. Very, very good. You've done well. The book is amazing. Of course, behind a smile is really, intriguing, because you just like, what is that? What's happening? But because behind a smile, what could possibly be there behind a smile? But yeah, so I was really touched by that. Really, really good.
That's fine. You've actually answered 2. You've actually answered 2 of my questions in just speaking.
So much. You know what? So much to say. So much to say. I don't even know. Like, when you send me the questions, I'm like, where do I begin? Because everything is relevant to me. Everything is relevant from you being a young person. The only difference is because you was in the foster care when you was very young. And, for me, when I see a situation like that, it pains me, because all I do is go back in a time when I was very young and facing all that I did. And so it was painful, but yeah, it was really nice to read. It's like I was enjoying reading it. It's like I was revisiting my past. And I was just appreciating the fact that you were so honest, and then you put it all out there. So I guess, that's where it comes from, really.
So now you've answered all my questions without me asking you the questions. So I have to ask you. So now I have to say, yes. Do you have any questions for me?
How are you doing? I mean, how are you? I mean, I know you're always smiling. You're very gentle, calm, and I just like your style. How are you doing? If that's the question I should be asking you. And how's love
I'm
life?
good. Oh my goodness, you're going there. You're going there.
Yes.
So I'm doing good. I'm doing sometimes I feel like I even forget that I've written a book when someone comes and asks me questions,
Yes.
or like today someone contacted me and said, oh, I've heard you deal with this sort of things. And I'm like, whoa, oh yes, that's true. So I'm reminded of the book. So people remind me of the book, because for me it feels a bit surreal that my story, my journey is out there. I feel good. There was a time where I thought maybe I made a mistake in writing the book, in having my story out there. But today when I sit back, I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm happy that people have been, empowered, encouraged. They found strength. They just, for some of them, they've never been through any of the things I've been through, but just to see that other people actually have gone through it, and to kind of be gracious, extend grace to people. Sometimes we see someone who's in a situation, and we're just quick to say that, oh, she's like this, she's like that, without actually knowing what's behind it.
Exactly.
So sometimes, I feel like the book has been an eye opener to some people who just expect that everybody's life is like theirs. We all go through struggles, some more than others. But for me, where I stand today, I feel happy. I feel blessed. I feel I feel empowered myself. As much as my story empowers others, I feel like it empowered myself as well. I needed that. I needed the healing that the book has brought me. So yeah, I feel good. I feel good. I don't question why the book is out there anymore. If I should even unpublish it, because I could do that with a click on Amazon, just unpublish. But I have no doubt that the book was written for such a time as this, and isn't without pretension. I'm not saying it as in to glorify myself, but this is a book for to show how God works. So it's not even about me; it's about God. So I am humbled that to have been kind of used for that for that time, because it came out just before lockdown. And we've seen that through lockdown, there was a lot of domestic violence. There was a lot of things happening where people now were, looking for answers and looking for strength out there. And to have sold more than, 1,000 copies, I'm like,
wow,
good,
amazing.
So I'm good.
Yeah, so but reading the book, it deserves more. And I think I always tell you that you really need to probably do a sessions of life and then just take us through the details more. I'm sure a lot of people would love to hear that, what you have to say, but you said it all in a book. So at any point, have you ever felt that you revealed a bit too much information? Or, I know you said at some point you want to retrieve it back, but in terms of information and the context, have you ever felt like that?
Yeah, I felt, I said that a lot, but I felt naked when I pressed the publish button. Even though no one had bought it, obviously you press publish by the time you let people know that your book is out there, But I felt naked. I felt like there was pieces of information that I actually never shared with family members, that I had kept to myself, that I had pushed back at the back of my mind. And when I was writing the book, God was just pushing it at the forefront of my mind, and I was like, ooh, I'm not sure I want people to know that, not even my own family. So I was kind of battling, kind of the emotions, the kind of obeying God and just not putting it there, or obeying and putting it out there. But I see that if I had taken those information out, the book wouldn't be the book that it is today. It wouldn't have had the impact that it is today. So, to talk about suicide, to talk about, rape, to talk about abuse, it's my journey. But again, one of my sisters said, it's not, that doesn't define me.
No,
what I've been through doesn't define me. So I cannot control when people read this book. I cannot control how they see me, because it's not, it's not something I can control. But I can obviously just be the person I was created to be, and continue in the journey, and knowing that it's out there.
Yes.
but I'm healed. You know, the journey of healing is not, it's not a final destination. We continue.
Yes.
You know, it's a continuous
Definitely.
journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a continuous journey. So
Yeah.
I'm on that journey. You know,
Yeah.
I can't say, oh, because I put it there, therefore I'm not affected. You know, I shared earlier, I still struggled with some
Yeah.
insecurities, but because I'm able now to see where they come from, I'm able to address them the right way in order for me to you know, to overcome. So that's basically how it is. You know, it's out there. You know,
Yes.
may
Wow.
God do the work. You know,
Yes. Because
so
it is doing. I mean, I'm a living proof of that, and I'm sure a lot more people would agree that it's an amazing book. Like I can't say it enough. For me, I mean, I would always refer back, even, I mean, until now, from time to time. Sometimes, if I'm in the bus or I'm on a journey to work, like I'm bored, I will go back. You know, just go back and see. And sometimes I wonder now. I mean, I know I said, I think I even when I shared it, I even said, oh wow, I have lot to ask you. But then again, as I read, you know, it's like you're answering everything. You're answering everything, and that's even amazing. So I'm really blessed to be able to read a story, and it's like reassuring to me as well as a person that yes, God loves me. For my own story is reassuring because maybe there was a time in my life I was sitting and thinking, you know, like, why me? Why me? But reading a story like yours, you know, it's so relatable that you think, oh yeah, there's someone out there who's gone through worse. Do you understand? Because when people see me, just as you described on your book title, behind a smile, because I'm a type of person who smiles a lot. I always help people, no matter what situation I'm under. I don't necessarily reveal like the state of my mind or how I'm feeling in any given time. If you come to me for help, I was always that person. I will help you. I'm happy to see others succeed. That's just me. But yet, when people look at you, they don't see. You understand? A smile behind. They don't see what you're hiding. You may not necessarily be hiding, but they don't see how you feel from within inside. So for me to see this is very comforting, because then I know I'm not alone. There are loads of people out there who've been through worse, and I'm proud of myself, and I thank God, you know, for being a blessing to myself. And I can say exactly the same thing to you, because we are all defined according to our past, the things that we've endured, and to be who we are today. And I see you, when I look at your post and I look at everything, you're an amazing person. So I'm like wondering how she's managing it. She's a mom. So there's not much to say. Well done. You've done good.
Thank you so much.
Well done.
Thank
If
you.
I should ask, I mean, I know you said earlier you're not thinking of writing any other book. You have to be joking, right? You have to write another book. I mean, what are you talking about? Congolese writer. How many Congolese young women who writes a book telling a story? There's not many. You should give that to yourself. You're a queen on your own right.
Thank you so much. I have to so before I answer that, can my next guest please do a request? Audrey, if you're here, please send me a request to join. You know, like I said, writing this book was very emotional. It took a lot of I said this enough time that I was writing and crying. There was times where I'm writing and I have to stop and cry. And then for a good 2 months, a month, I would not continue writing because my emotion were like, it's too much. I can't do this. And I would say, God, I can't do this. Let me just stop here. And he'd be like, no, you can't do it. But then I could see that through the cries, the tears and the pain that I felt writing, because I did feel that. You know, let me bring my next guest while I'm finishing this one.
All right.
Don't call. You don't need to come out because you asked the question. So the pain and the tears that I shed when I was writing, it didn't feel like it was. It didn't feel like sorrow.
Yeah.
It felt like cleansing. It wasn't a sorrow like ooh. It was very like cleansing. I needed that.
Yes.
I needed that. So you know, as much as, like I said, as much as it empowers others, I was empowered in just, you know, when I finished it and I ordered that one copy, which I gave to my sister, that one copy. And when I received it and I was like, you know, you kind of breathe and you're like, it's done, you know?
Yes.
So, writing another book, I would like it to be still, you know, kind of continue in the memoir kind of style book. I don't know. I'd like to, because
like,
I
for
don't know.
me, there are parts that I wish, I mean, I know, like, I've never written a book before, but I can understand what you have to go through, especially for a story as this. But there are some, you know, stories there that I feel like you can talk more about. Like, for example, when it comes to suicide, feeling, already just by feeling that it's a big thing. So it would be really nice, you know, if you can do that. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Nadine. Thank you.
Hi, Audrey. Thank
Social
you.
media friends becoming friends.
Sure.
That's it. Thank you so much. I'll let you
You're
go.
welcome. You
Thank
too.
you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Bye. I'll be on the comment section.
Sure. So Kwabena is asking, how about a movie? The idea is out there. Whoever wants to make this book a movie, I am open to the idea. So feel free to contact me, and we can work on that. And I know it's, you know, I know there's many movies out there. So sometimes you're kind of, you know, what else would it be looking like? But I'm open to the idea. So Kwabs, if you're, you know, if you find the cast, someone nice to play me, you know, like the young me, the teenage me, you know, and you know, guys will see in movies, that would be so cool. But yeah, why not a movie? Why not? So my next guest is Audrey from Let's Catch Up podcast.
Yes. They've been English,
So
right?
yes,
Okay.
only English. I am not translating. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. If there's a word you need to say in French, I'll grab that and translate it. But I've met Audrey through a friend that we have in common. I didn't know Audrey, and she reached out to me for a podcast she did regarding domestic violence. This was done on, I think it was during lockdown, wasn't it?
Yes, it was during lockdown.
It was during lockdown.
The episode was during the domestic violence month. Yes,
awareness month. Yeah,
yes.
October 2020. That's it. So that's when the episode was kind of released out there. So please go follow Let's Catch Up podcast. It's mainly French speakers, but the episode we did with Audrey was we did two, one in French and one in English. Very interesting, very, very interesting topic and questions. You know, she's out there doing what she's doing best, doing podcast stuff. And then, so we only met, obviously, it was just over the phone and over the podcast. And then recently we finally got to meet face to face because she's in London, I'm in London. And we thought, you know what, we've known each other kind of on social media and everything. Let's meet face to face. And we had a blast. So again, these are strangers who have become friends. Good evening. Good evening. I would say Pastor Olu, good evening. Hangout Cafe as well. One to follow, Hangout the Cafe. Please do follow. So let me ask my questions because I'm going into too much details. What are my questions? Good question now. Oh, I can't find my questions. I don't understand what's happening.
Just improvise.
Listen, I need to find these questions. Okay, good. All right. First question to you, Audrey, is would you say this book was original and why?
Original, I would say because it was authentic. This is your story. So it was, real facts that makes like very authentic and original. And the fact that what I liked about this book, because I've got the first version, is written by a Congolese woman. So when Shari, a common, the friends that we got to comment, told me that okay, I know a friend that she wrote a book, etc. And this book talk about a lot of issue facing back, a lot of women and men. Was that this is interesting because that's the first Congolese author that I know now that's written about this topic that's still like a subject of taboos in the community. So I found that you are very brave to talk about those issues, and those like some issue I wasn't aware I think I told you when I finished the book, and I said to you that I didn't know it was like a trauma, like not trauma, like a stereotype on single mom. So it really opened my eyes, and I even told you that it's not like I noticed, but with the thing that you just highlight in the book, so I recognize some women around me that may affected by about this stereotype. So well done to you, Paulette. Like,
Thank you.
well done.
What do you think my purpose was in writing this book?
First and foremost, I think it was like healing. So it was like two purposes. Like one is from you to heal from those trauma, and the second one is to help other people that are going through those issues, that there's a way out. And the third one is just to show that how God is love.
Yeah, you captured that. Though I didn't actually know, in writing the book, I didn't know that it would be part of healing, of my healing journey. I didn't know at all. I just thought, you know what, it's been asked, write a book. Oh, you should write a book, and there was a prophecy made a couple of years or a year before that. But I didn't know that it would be part of it. Actually played a major part in my healing journey. So writing the book was quite interesting. So yeah, the purpose was definitely to show God's love, to definitely show that God is in the midst of everything, whatever the situations, God is in the midst of them, and he's showing us a way out, and is obviously wanting us to follow him towards that way out, because sometimes God is there showing us the way, but we are so blinded that we go kind of further down the rabbit hole. So God is there, and he's showing us the way, and he's grabbing our hands to lead us out of those situations. So who would you recommend the book to?
Actually, to everyone. I mean, people sometimes think that, okay, because like you talk about also like trauma, like difficult, issue, I would say, is for those only people that are facing those issues. But I think that's for everyone. There'll be for parents, there'll be for teenagers, and it's quite easy to read. So I would say to everyone.
To everyone, yes. So angel cakes, my angel cakes. If you need your cakes, I'm doing promo for everyone here. Angel cakes, if you need your cakes, please do go. She makes amazing cakes. I'm yet to taste them, but the look of those cakes, I tell you, I'm happy to add a few pounds. Your book was like beauty from ashes. Yes. So I actually thought about that as a title. I had many, and I didn't have many titles. I kind of started writing, and then I kind of had this image of beauty for ashes. But then went for behind the smile, because I thought, I was quite, hiding quite a lot behind my smile. So I went for behind the smile. If you have any questions, again, please drop them in the chat. Today we're celebrating my book's 2nd year anniversary. The book is called Behind the Smile. Behind the Smile, available in French and also in English. Next question, Audrey, is, does this book make you think of a song? It's a bit awkward.
Non, j'allais parler en français en plus. Like when you ask me the question now, I'm thinking about one song.
Okay.
I don't know the title. Like I know like the artist is Papa Wemba. And bon, je vais chanter un peu. Hein. Je suis désolée pour le. Ça fait follow.
She's gonna sing.
C'est OKI, something like that. Like yeah, je crois que c'est OKI. Je pense que c'est celui de Papa Wemba. Là, je me posais la question. Like you asking me the question, I just thought about this song. I don't know why.
That's okay. For those who've read the books, if you're still obviously up and watching, does this book make you think about a song? Nadine, Jennifer, if you're still there, Alvinne, Kwabena, Chris, if you guys are still here, if you have a song in mind, kind of generic for the for the book, for the movie, if you have a song, that would be. Oh yeah, guys, if you're obviously if you're still there, Angel Cakes. I'll call you Angel Cakes. I will keep calling you Angel Cakes. If you can put a song that would be kind of in the movie, if there was ever a movie of Behind a Smile, if there is any song you think should be played in it, please put it there. Do you have any questions, after reading the book? Is there anything you feel like, oh, I want to know, kind of?
No, in particular, because I think that the question I had that most of the people ask about, when will be your next book, but it won't be like a question. It will be maybe a suggestion. I don't know. Like,
okay.
When Beyond the Smile will be written in Congo? That's my question. I want to know. I want to know. Definitely. When?
Ooh. Okay. So I think for me to be able to go into other languages, it kind of will require sponsors, because I've seen how there was the first edition, which was my friend and good sis helped me edit, so that wasn't kind of us between us. Then he went into the second edition, which was professionally edited.
Mm-hmm.
Then he went to French, so all that required money. And if you want something very well done, it requires a lot of money, I will have to say, because everything that I found in between, I've had to kind of go back and edit myself, or find my sister to follow up the translation. So it's been a bit of a hustle to make things happen. So if I was to translate it in any other languages, I would say I would need sponsors and kind of go into a house that will publish it again, which makes it life slightly easier for me. Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, I like that story. I like that story. Sorry, I like that song. The story I'll tell. I like that song. Maverick. You can't go wrong with Maverick City, I would say. I like that as well. Dependable God. Yes. I would. I like that. I could see those songs in a movie, in moments that, kind of. Look at me. You guys are projecting me somewhere I'm not even thinking about. But you know what? God works in mysterious ways. So watch space. That's all I can say. Behind the smile is again and again, I would say, is to God's glory. It's not nothing that I can say that, oh, it's me. I cannot boast about this. I cannot boast even of where I'm standing today, because if it wasn't for God, I talk in my book, I've attempted suicide 3 times. If it wasn't for God, those attempts could have led to, my family crying for me at the cemetery. Many things have come along the way that could have taken me out of this world, and God did not allow it. There's many, heartbreaks, that at times, even a heartbreak makes you feel like you're going to die. And I was in those places where the heartbreaks was so kind of, sometimes the heartbreak is so, you can feel it literally. You want to explode, but, God again has not allowed me to go down a path that will, of no return. That's it. Of no return. I think you should contact domestic abuse charities. They could add you to their libraries. I have done that, and I'm also signed up to volunteer with domestic violence charity to be a speaker to some events. I'm just waiting. Obviously, the world is starting reopening, so I'm doing that. God has been using me in ways that I never thought in a million years I will obviously even do what I'm doing right now. I never thought in a million years I'll be talking about my story. standing on platforms, being invited to different events to talk about my story, to talk about my journey. And I'm well aware that this is just one story in the midst of so many stories that are untold. So I'm not taking credit like, oh, this has just happened to me. I know it's happening to many women out there, to many men out there, because, you know, it's not my book is not just about domestic violence. So if you're watching, this book is not just about domestic violence. It touches on so many, you know, difficult topics about acceptance, love, you know, kind of, I said it earlier, rape, rape, suicide, anorexia, you know, trying to find love in the wrong places. And then we obviously touch on domestic violence because I kind of worded it in, not played it, but I kind of paste it in a way where all those things that have happened to me, or the things that I even didn't get for myself, ended up creating the adult I became, and the wounded adult made choices out of a wounded place. And yeah, so that's how it's been, and that's why I want to tell, you know, someone out there, if not everyone, that, you know, your past doesn't define your future, and then you've got to do the work. Healing doesn't happen overnight. It's not a destination, it's a journey, but it's a journey that is at times painful. At times it requires you to stand alone. At times it requires you to stand with friends. You know, at times there's tears, at times there's laughter, but it's all part of the journey of healing. And it's not pretty. And healing, you know, we see that in many quotes or posts, that healing is not linear. It's very up and down. You know, one minute you feel on top of the mountain, the next minute you feel like you're deep down in the valley. But through all those mountaintops and those valleys, that the God is there. You know, God is there, and I cannot take God out of my story. I refuse to take God out of my story and think that I've done it on my own, because it wouldn't be true. It wouldn't be honest. It wouldn't be an honest kind of statement for me to say, oh, I've done it all by myself, and not acknowledge that God has actually been with me when I was, again, standing on those mountaintops, and when I was laying flat in the valley, crying my eyes out. God has always been there. So just encourage someone out there, you know, do the work, allow others in as well, because, you know, I thought at times that I could do it by myself, but I had to pair up with someone to pray for me, to pair up with someone, and, you know, kind of you're crying, you don't even know what to pray, but that person is actually covering you in their prayers. It's important to be covered in prayers, especially when you just can't do it by yourself. You know, I've written this book. I'm sure there's many books out there that talk about, you know, domestic violence, rape, you know, abuse, all kind of abuse. But I don't know. I don't know what makes my book special, if not God. You know, many of you have shared, you know, how special this book has been to you. Many of you have recommended this book, and I trust that it's not just a case where, because I know you, that's why I'm doing this, but it's a case that this book has really touched me, and it has the power to heal someone out there. And this is that, from that place you were able to recommend this book. So I thank everyone. Audrey, if you want to come out, do come out. That's absolutely fine. I'm gonna continue for the next 10 minutes, and then I'll let you guys go and have a rest for this evening.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So again, I repeat, we are celebrating my book's second year anniversary.